Went to Caltech for a while?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
It was interesting for a couple of years, and I was offered a automatically a postdoctoral position at Los Alamos.
He left Los Alamos for his present position at the Supercomputer Center. Today, he also consults for corporations and government agencies, such as the Pentagon and the CIA, on computer security. But back in 1994, he was the one under attack.
Don't you know who I am? Me and my friend will kill you.
2 days after the break-in, he received the first of several threatening phone messages.
Tsutomu realized that this was something unusual, that this was not sort of a random attack.
The attack was so unusual, in fact, that federal law enforcement authorities quickly learned that conventional crime-fighting methods were useless. It became apparent that Shimomura was the best and perhaps the only hope to catch this computer bandit.
The problem was that he was systematically looting the computers of security experts all over the internet and sharing the information he was finding about weaknesses with an unknown group of people. And so there was a real risk there for all of us, for all of us who sort of rely on this technology.
Although you may not realize it, all of us do rely on this technology. Our banks, offices, phone companies, the credit card companies, they all use computers to store the information that we use every day. So this attack underscored just how vulnerable all of us are.
It's the old Willie Sutton line, criminals go where the money is. Right now, the money's on the net.
Kent Walker was the assistant U.S. attorney working on this case.
As more and more Americans get on the net and start doing their banking and their shopping and their other personal transactions in cyberspace, it's a more and more attractive target for hackers and other criminals.
But the intruder was after more. Shimomura's investigation disclosed he was also stealing security codes from cellular phone companies. In early February, the FBI joined the hunt.
The theory was that he wanted to figure out how to alter telephones to make himself untraceable.
Tsutomu, my learned disciple.
Shimomura received another mysterious phone message, this time mocking him and his abilities.
Haven't I not taught you, grasshopper? You must learn from the master.
I could see their persistence, how much time and effort they were willing to put into attacking systems, and how repetitious the pattern was.
It was this pattern that became the key. Shimomura wrote new computer programs to analyze these digital footprints. He reconstructed the attacks, learning not only what had been taken, but the technique as well. The intruder had fooled Shimomura's computers into thinking that he was a friend, not a foe.
Do you have a local access number there?
7 weeks after the break-in, Shimomura could again secure the computers. Now, with the support of federal authorities, they traced the intruder's modem calls across the internet, through the phone system, over the cellular network, to a complex network of computers and switches which the cyber thief was using to cover his tracks. Cellular technician Jim Murphy was enlisted in this hunt.
The FBI needed some help in tracking down a number which they had linked to some internet activity.
After weeks of analyzing data and tracing calls, investigators were led here to a Sprint cellular telephone switching center in Raleigh, North Carolina. They believed they finally had another piece of critical information, a name and a face, Kevin David Mitnick. Authorities say he was the most wanted man in cyberspace, a fugitive for more than 2 years. Time was critical. Their suspect might realize they were tracing his calls. Sprint engineers targeted cell site 19 as the area of Raleigh where the calls were originating. Now they had to follow the cellular signal itself to the phone and its user. They used a tracking device called a cell scope.
Following it's much like trying to find a light bulb in the dark. You go towards where the light is brighter, maybe you can see the light bulb.
At 1:30 in the morning on February 15th, investigators knocked on the door of apartment 202. Standing before them, Kevin Mitnick. Authorities arrested him and seized computers, cell phones, and other electronic equipment. At 31, Mitnick already had a record as a computer criminal and was widely regarded as a notorious computer hacker. First arrested at age 17, Mitnick had twice been convicted of computer fraud and other technology-related crimes for which he went to prison. He was arraigned later that day here at the federal courthouse in Raleigh. He comes into the courtroom in North Carolina. You're sitting at the back. What happened?
Kevin sees me, and his eyes go wide.
He said, "You're Satomo," and they looked at me and said, "You're Markov."
And suddenly at this point, it's become clear to both of us that this isn't a game. This is real. It has very real consequences.
And then he was led to the table, and the judge came in, and it was all very quick.
He's sitting in the courtroom, and you approach him.
And he says to me, I respect your skills.
That was it?
That was it.
Mitnick declined our request for an interview. Now, after a 15-year hacking career, he's once again in federal custody. And Shimomura is the best-known private eye in cyberspace. You could be worth a lot of money to a lot of corporations and a lot of people who worry about security. Is that tempting?
Not so much. Life's short. This was interesting to do once. I don't know that I'd want to do it again.
You want to skate alone or do you want company?
For now, anyway, Shimomura is content lacing up his speed skates, contemplating his next challenge. How do you see the rest of your life?
Trying to have fun, trying to do things that are interesting. There are a lot of things I'm curious about in the world that I want to know about. Life is short. I feel that I should enjoy it.
After his arrest in North Carolina, Mitnick agreed to plead guilty to 1 count of phone fraud. He's also charged with probation violations in California, but he may be facing much bigger problems. Investigators are looking into whether he can be charged with broader computer-related crimes. As for Shimomura, a major Hollywood studio is currently working to turn his story into a motion picture.